Hey guys, Mr. Amari here with another tutorial for you. This is my second tutorial for our clicker game in Scratch. In the last video I showed you how to make our first object. In my game I'm doing it on the theme for catching bugs. You can make your theme whatever you want. I was just using the beetle sprite that came with Scratch. Today I'm going to show you how to now make your first upgrade. This upgrade is going to make it so that we have, for every second, we're going to add half a bug to our bugs in the jar, and it's going to cost us 10 bugs to get each of these half a bug per second added to our game. Basically what we're doing here is creating a multiplier so that now we'll be getting bugs even when we're not clicking on our beetle. This is a common upgrade that you'll see in a lot of types of clicker games, and while I'm going to show you how to make one of them today, you can make as many as you want to. That's the biggest fun with clicker games a lot of times, is working toward that next upgrade. So let's take a look at how to make one of them, because if you can do it once, you can do it 1,000 times. Alright, so we started with, when our green flag is clicked, our bugs in a jar is set to 0, and we have our beetle that when I click on it, it's going to pop out like that, and here's our code from that from last time. Now we're going to notice that we have our butterfly here is grayed out, and moreover when I click on it nothing happens. You're going to notice that my bugs per second doesn't go up, my bugs in jar doesn't go down, and this thing stays grayed out. This is using something called the ghost effect. So let's take a look at my code and see how I got this to do this. First I'm going to start with when a green flag is clicked, forever, and then I want something to happen. Now basically what I want to do is I want to make it so that if I have less than the amount of money needed to buy the butterfly upgrade, that butterfly will gray out or just get a little more transparent, and it won't let me click on it. So the first thing I need to do is make that transparent look to it. So if we come over to my code, I'm going to start with this forever block, and then I'm going to pull in something that we haven't used yet. In our control section, we've been doing our if-then blocks. We haven't been using these if-then-else blocks. See, this is where this is going to start coming in useful. What we're basically doing is we're telling the program, hey, if something is true up here, then do this thing. But if it's not true, do this other thing. See, up until then, we've been telling it to do something if something's true, and then not giving it any directions in case that thing is not true. So, let's take a look at this using our variables. Now, obviously, I have to put some sort of operator in here. I have to put some sort of math. So what I'm going to do is I want to make it so that if I have less than 10 bugs in a jar, well, then this thing is not going to be able to be seen completely clearly. So, I go over to my operators, and I grab a less than. Now remember, less than is the narrow side of the duck's bill here. So we're going to grab that out here. Now, the cost of the butterfly upgrade is 10. So we're going to make the right side of the equation 10. And the left side, we need to tell it if the bug's in a jar. So I need to go to my variables. And I have my bugs in a jar variable I made last time. I'm going to grab that, pull it over, and drop it right in there. So now, if bugs in a jar are less than 10, then what I want to do is I want to make this guy gray out. I want to make it transparent. To do that, we have something called the ghost effect, and that's in our look section. So if we scroll through, we have our change color effect or set color effect too. We're going to go to the set color effect, and we're actually going to click on that drop-down menu, and you'll see we have a whole host of different things we can use here that we can change that are effects. Ghost is the one we're most interested in. So we click on it, and we're going to set the ghost effect. If it's less than 10, we're going to set this effect, I'm going to try 65, and put it here. Now, I want to tell it something else, though. If it's less than 10, do this. But what if less than 10 isn't true? What if it's 10 or more? Well, then I'm going to go into the else section. I'm going to change that ghost effect. I'm going to change it to 0 so that it's not see-through anymore. And if I go ahead and go over to my actual game here, when I click my green flag, I click on my beetle, You can see my butterfly is still grayed out, but as I get closer to 10, once I hit 10, it snaps into view. Next, we're going to go into our events section. Now, in the events section, we want to make it when this sprite is clicked, just as we did with our beetle. In fact, we can steal some of the stuff from the beetle that we used last time, such as setting the size and making it change size. So I'm going to go ahead and do that. I'm going to go into my beetle, and I'm going to steal this whole section here, the set size to and the pop sound and the change color effect. I'm just going to go ahead and grab that, carry it over to my butterfly, and then for those who aren't sure what I did there, I'm dragging it over, and when you highlight it over, you'll see that it shakes for a second. That means when you let go of it, it will copy it over into your new sprite. So now you can see that I have all the things that when I'm ready to click it, it's going to do. It's going to pop, it's going to change the sound, all that good stuff. But what's not happening is I'm not having my bugs per second change. Bugs per second is a variable that I created that I'm going to use to multiply how many bugs in a jar that I have. We'll get to that in a minute. What you'll notice though is that, that number's not going up. That's because I didn't tell it to go up while I'm clicking it. So the thing is, I need to make it so that I can't click this if I don't have enough bugs in a jar to do it, or enough points or enough money, whatever your variable is going to be. So I need to put another if-else statement in here, telling it that if it's less than the amount of bugs I need to buy it, it's not going to let me click on the sprite. So we're going to go into our if-then statement, and what we're going to do is all of this stuff, we're going to go and put into the else section. Because what we're going to check for is, are we less than 10? That's the number that we need. See, we did if bugs in a jar are less than 10 up here. We're going to do the same thing down here. So again, my operators, go to my less than, change that to 10, and then go to my variables, grab bugs in a jar. If bugs in a jar are less than 10, then it's going to do nothing. When this sprite is clicked, it's going to do nothing. See, I'm clicking on my butterfly and nothing's happening. That's because my bugs in a jar are less than 10. If my bugs in a jar are greater than 10 or equal to 10, so let's get it up to 10 here. Let's look at our beetle again. So now that I have 10 bugs in a jar, I can click my butterfly, but you can see that I'm not getting any bugs per second, and my bugs in a jar isn't going down. So I need to add some more stuff into my if-then-else statement. I need to tell it that if I click on this, or when I click on this, so I need to tell that when I click on this, and if I have 10 or more, what it should do is it should give me 0.5 bugs into my bugs per second, and it should take away 10 bugs from the bugs in a jar. So I go over to my variables. So I'm going to need to change my bugs in a jar by -10, because that's the amount we want to take away from the bugs in a jar. So we're going to put that here. And then of course we want to increase our bugs per second by 0.5 and put that down here. All right, so now I need it to go up regularly and it kind of go up bugs per second here. So if I have 0.5 bugs per second, I should be getting half a bug every single second. If I've gotten enough to get 1 bug per second, every second I should get 1 bug added onto here. So the way we do this is we're going to grab a forever loop from our control. And we'll make some room here for us. And then I'm going to make sure that I put an event on top when the green flag is clicked, because I want this to happen the entire program from the very, very beginning. I want it to check for this the minute I click that green flag. And then what we're going to do is I'm going to go ahead and go to my variables, and I'm going to have change bugs in a jar. Now, instead of change bugs in a jar by 1, because if I do this and I hit the green flag, look at that, it just goes on forever like that. What I want it to do is I don't want it to change bugs in a jar by 1. I want it to change bugs in a jar by whatever number is in bugs per second. So I go to my variables, I grab my bugs per second, and drop it right there. So now the game will always check hey, how many bugs per second do I have? And if I have any, it will change bugs in a jar by that number. Now, the problem with doing it this way is if I were to just click the game, it's going to add the bugs per second faster than 1 per second. It's going to add it as fast as Scratch could possibly do math. We don't want it to do it that fast. It's going to astronomically go just crazy. What we want it to do is we want it to do it 1 per every second. So to do that, we have to put a wait block in. So we go to Control, we grab wait 1 second and put it underneath that change. This way, it changes bugs in a jar by bugs per second, it waits 1 second, and then does it again. This way, we're literally getting that number per second added to my bugs in a jar. So there you go, guys. There's your basic upgrade for your clicker game. Once you know how to do this once, you can do it 18,000 more times. All you need to do is change your variable numbers to make it harder and harder to get larger and larger bugs per second, or whatever your variable multiplier is. This could literally just be a multiplier. If you don't want to make it specific to your theme, just make it say multiplier, and then it can just be multiplier and then that number. I hope this is helpful for you guys, and I look forward to seeing you guys again in the next video.